everybody, Tim here with Maggie, this time for another movie review for The First Purge. This is the fourth film in the Purge franchise, and this is a prequel to those films, ergo the title, The First Purge. We just got out of the movie, and Maggie, I want this to be a little bit more of a discussion rather than a review. I want to talk about the Purge franchise first. I like the first movie. I really like the second movie. Wouldn't say that I love it, but I really like it. Third one's a giant pile of garbage. How do you feel about the franchise up to this point?
Yeah, so the second one's definitely the best one. Definitely the easiest to watch. Not that the first one's hard to watch, it's just that when we rewatched it recently before this one came out, it's really boring.
Yeah, I would say
like
so.
Nothing happens. Like there's maybe
until like the last 20 minutes.
Right. And like I don't know. It is just like a lot of just like watching these rich white people live their lives. The second one's much more interesting, where it just starts off right away with like the grandpa and his thing. I don't know if we're like spoiling.
I mean,
the movie's been out for a while.
The movie's been out for a while. Yeah. And Frank Grillo's awesome.
Frank Grillo is great, and the action is great, and then the whole like mystery with those vans is definitely a lot better in terms of like making a political message than the way they handle it in this movie.
I would say that the second one, I wouldn't call it like a good movie by any means, but like you said, it's easy to watch. It's just like a fun time at the movies. Like, it's got some good action scenes. It's also got some good jumps and some good like horror element stuff. And yeah, the message does kind of beat you over the head, but it's not horrible. And then, how do you feel about the third one, Election Year?
It's alright. The dialogue is considerably worse.
The candy bar thing
is really, really bad. And in general, like, the character of Joe, like, you're supposed to feel, like, really attached to him, but he's kind of there just to be, like, I can't think of the term. Like, the humor person.
Yeah, the comic relief.
That. He's pretty much there to be that, but it's just, like, very...
There's a lot of that in this movie, too.
But it's very stereotypical, like, low-income African-American, which, I don't know, I just don't find stereotypes that amusing.
Yeah, so, getting into this new one, The First Purge, in my opinion, it's not only the worst movie in the Purge franchise, which is a pretty high bar considering how much I disliked the third one.
Yeah.
But it's also probably the worst movie of the year.
I haven't seen a lot of bad movies.
In my opinion. And I have, recently. Like, recently I've been going on a little trip and watching all the crap I've missed. Yeah. And, like, to say that this is worse than 1517 to Paris, or Acrimony, or Midnight Sun, or Cloverfield Paradox, like, that's a lot. This movie's really bad.
Yeah.
And to go on, something we were talking about, before we get into the movie, something we were talking about was, like, in the franchise, they did a really good job of, other than the first one is a, like, white home invasion. And I like the fact that the first one is a home invasion movie, but then the second one, you get to see what's happening on the outside, and not only, it's not just, like, the rich white people hidden inside, but there's a white couple, there's I believe it's a Latina mother and daughter, right? Mm-hmm. Which are the main girls in the movie, and then there's Frank Grillo, and then there's I believe there's a couple African American characters in that movie in the second one.
There's like that Black Panther type character that's like leading the rebellion.
Yes. So there's that whole thing. And then the third one, even though I don't like the movie, like you said, it does do a very good job of having a very diverse cast. And this movie does do that as well. It's mainly an all African American cast, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see in a big budget movie.
Yeah.
Well, not a big budget, as a small budget, but a big released movie like The Purge. That's pretty cool. And
that's going to attract all types of audiences, not just the one type of audience.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to give them props for that. And then the other thing that I have to give him props for, and I gotta give credit where credit's due. I just said this is probably the worst movie of the year. There are a couple cool moments in this movie, especially towards the end. There's a cool stairway fight that I actually enjoyed, and then there's a cool thing with, towards the end, there's another sequence with some flashing lights that when it started was pretty cool. It dragged on a little too long. My eyes started to hurt, but at first it was pretty cool. So credit where credit's due, but the rest of the movie, in my opinion, is just a steaming pile of shit.
Yeah, the action's definitely the best part of this movie, and it's not even that good. There's a lot of like blood, like everywhere,
fake blood,
in like a really bad type of way. There's an action sequence. It's kind of towards the end. It's kind of hard to tell because there's a moment when Tim looked at me and said, "There's 30 minutes left," and I said, "I thought this was the end," and it was not. But it was right around that time that action sequence was, and they kept like shooting people, and then the blood would splatter on the camera, and they did it like 5 times.
But it was CGI blood too, so it looked really bad. And I get like you're gonna have fake blood. You're not actually gonna like get some real organs and like shove them on the screen. Like I get that, but it looked really bad. And if you're gonna try to do something cool like that, don't do it 8 times in the same sequence.
Once.
Do it once. Oh, that was pretty cool, and make sure it looks good, but it doesn't look good. Something else I elbowed you like right towards the beginning is the use of green screen in this movie is really atrocious. Bad. It's so bad, and it's to the point where, like, there's a scene in the beginning, and this isn't a spoiler, you've seen it in the trailers, Marissa Tomei is in this movie, and she plays, like, the doctor who has come up with the idea of the purge, and she's standing there with the government official, I believe, was it the Secretary of State?
No, he was, like, the assistant to the president or something. He was, like, the head of this experiment.
Some government guy, and they're standing there being interviewed, and when the camera is facing the interviewer from the news station,
there's real people.
It's real people, looks good, camera flips to them being interviewed, and it's just a green screen with people just like walking around behind, but it was so noticeably like bad.
Yeah.
It was like insane how bad the green screen was.
I think that falls with my theory that literally Marissa, like, she's not in the movie a lot. Like, she probably showed up for one day and filmed all of her scenes. So she was probably like, we didn't get all the people together to have her stand in front of. Like, she only could be here for one day.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's a good point. So let's get into the acting a bit in this movie because was there acting?
Honestly,
the 2 leads were decent.
Yeah, I agree. The main guy and the main girl were fine. And then the kid was fine, too.
It was just a lot of overacting.
But, like, what do you expect?
Well, I expect a performance like Frank Grillo in the second one and in the third one. And again, I don't like the third one. The dialogue is terrible, but Frank Grillo gives a good performance. Yeah. And I would say that this main guy who plays the character Dimitri, he's probably the best performance in the movie. He gives it all he can. It's just the dialogue is so atrocious. The script is so bad. And this is still from James, I believe it's James DeMarco or DeMarco or whatever. And he wrote and directed the first 3, and then wrote this one, did not direct it, which I'll get into my thoughts on that in a second. But his scripts have gotten progressively worse. I'd say the first 2 scripts are probably on par with each other, and then the third script is just terrible, and this script is so atrociously bad. Mm-hmm. The dialogue, every other minute, I was looking at her and just being like, I can't believe the words coming out of some of these characters' mouth.
Yeah.
It was just atrocious. And then to get on what you were saying about Joe in the third one being like the comic relief, there's a character in this movie who is that comic relief character who just is making jokes at all the worst times. They're being shot at and attacked and like purged at, and she's cracking jokes about taking a dump in her pants.
And again, it's not like they're like good jokes. They're playing on just those stereotypes that you have.
It's all stereotype jokes, and it's all just, it's offensive. It's stupid. It's dumb. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. So then, as I was saying about the directing, did you notice anything horrible about the directing in this time?
The blood. The
blood, the green screen. There's also an overuse of slow-mo and random action sequences where there's just like
slow-mo.
Where they're like walking normally, and then all of a sudden it's just like,
you know something's about to happen when there's a part where like they're going back and forth between two different places. And,
Oh, yeah.
And this is towards the beginning, like right when the purge starts.
Yeah, it's cutting between two
Yeah,
locations.
and like you can like feel the tension rising with like the music, and then all of a sudden it goes slow-mo at both places, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it was not well
and
directed.
it killed the tension.
It did, yeah. Well, and that was the other thing, is that like you said, you can tell when something's about to happen. There was never there was one jump scare that actually made me jump.
Well,
every other jump scare did nothing to me. I just sat there, and she like jumped. And
I jumped almost every time because I'm a wuss.
Yeah, but I just I saw it coming from a mile away. But I've seen a lot of horror movies, and if you've seen a lot of horror movies, you know what? Something else to say. There's a friend of ours who we used to work with that was actually in the same showing as us, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so excited! I loved the third one," and I was like,
"Okay,
third one's a pile of crap." And she was like, "Oh no, I loved it. So if it's as good as that one, I'll love this." And she loves horror movies. Cool. She even afterwards was like, she looked at me and was like, "That was horrible." So, guys, I mean, just if you're a fan of this series, which I used to be, but I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
even though we'll watch the TV show.
I was gonna get to that. There is a mid-credits scene, I guess, which
really
could be considered a spoiler. So if you care about that, I guess, plug your ears for the next minute. But there was a teaser for the upcoming Purge television series. That trailer, that 45 seconds, was better than the entire movie, The First Purge.
That's very true. 100% true.
It was better. So, I mean, like, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
But am I going to go see another Purge movie written by James whatever? Nah.
Yes, you are.
No, I don't care anymore. I'm done. This has turned into the point where, like, a movie like Wish Upon or Truth or Dare, where I'm just like, I'm not going to go see that. I'll wait till it's out and I can watch it at home. I'm not going to waste my time. Oh, Tim, you want to go see the second Purge? Nope, I don't. I'll wait till it's on Blu-ray. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
You feel the same way?
I don't know. I think...
Literally the only thing that would make me interested in this again is if Frank Grillo came back, or if it just like went back to like a root like home invasion movie. That I would be interested in seeing what they would do with that, but I think I'm going to get that in this TV show.
Right.
So, anywho, those are our thoughts on The First Purge was the name of the movie.
Well,
you have more to say?
Well, we just never talked about the hit you over the head with a political message part of the movie.
Oh. Yeah, no, we did not.
We don't have to talk about it.
I would love to talk about it.
But I'm just saying that it's real bad, guys. So, like...
It was bad in the third one. It's worse in this.
It's, like, really bad. So if you, like, The Purge, especially the second one, I think it does a really good job of, like, handling that social message. So... This one is, like, really heavy-handed, like, in a very bad way.
It's amazing how this franchise that started, like, 5 years ago has suddenly turned into this giant political message.
Right, and it's, like, not even, like, subtle, or not that it has to be subtle, but it's not even, like, well done.
Well, that's the thing, it's like, whether you agree with the political statement it's making or not, it just does it very poorly.
Right.
So...
And it's, like, there were certain parts where I was like, are they trying to say something political? But then I was like, wait, are they even thinking hard enough to try to make a political message here?
Yeah, that's good.
Like, I don't know.
The movie's not good.
No.
It's a bad movie.
Yeah.
Don't see it.
No.
Unless you're very interested in seeing horrible films, like I am sometimes.
Yeah, in the review I wrote online, I was like, if you really want to see something like this, just watch Purge Anarchy again.
Yeah, Purge Anarchy.
Better version.
It's a way better movie, for sure. Well, anyway, guys, those are our thoughts on The First Purge. If you have seen this movie, I am sorry, but let us know what you thought about it in the comments below. Sorry this video was so long, but we had a lot to say and a lot to think about, a lot to vent about, because literally we've been out of the movie for like 25 minutes. Like, we just got out of it, and we had to talk about it. Well, anyway, thanks as always for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and hit subscribe so that you can stay up to date with all of the latest videos from me and when Maggie pops up every now and then. I usually only make her do this when the movie's really bad, I think.
That's honestly so true.
Whatever, so thanks as always for watching, guys, and until next time, have a good one.